हाय फ्रेंड्स, कसे आहात सगळे? मी आहे जयश्री आणि महा एक्झाम्स या यूट्यूब चॅनलवर तुमचं पुन्हा एकदा खूप खूप मनापासून स्वागत. तर फ्रेंड्स, आज आपण इंग्लिश पेडगॉजीतील महा टीईटीतील इंग्लिश पेडगॉजीतील चॅप्टर क्रमांक 3 पाहणार आहोत, ज्याचं नाव आहे प्रिन्सिपल्स ऑफ लँग्वेज टीचिंग. याआधी आपण दोन चॅप्टर पाहिलेले आहेत. त्याची लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्समध्ये देईल, जाऊन नक्की चेक करा. चला तर मग वळत आपल्या आजच्या विषयाकडे. तर चॅप्टरचं नाव आहे प्रिन्सिपल्स ऑफ लँग्वेज टीचिंग. जर चॅनलवर नवीन असाल आणि चॅनलला सबस्क्राईब केलं नसेल तर महा एक्झामच्या यूट्यूब चॅनलला नक्की सबस्क्राईब करा. चला तर मग वळत आपल्या आजच्या पहिल्या टॉपिककडे. तर टॉपिकचं नाव आहे प्रिन्सिपल्स ऑफ नॅचरलनेस. तर पहिला पॉईंट आहे प्रिन्सिपल्स ऑफ नॅचरलनेस. द मदर टंग इज ऑलवेज लर्न्ड मोर इझिली बिकॉज देअर एक्झिस्ट अ नॅचरल एन्व्हायरमेंट फॉर लर्निंग इट. The child encounters with a foreign language in his class for about 6 periods a week, and so it becomes difficult for him to learn it. And an effort be made to provide the child with a natural environment for learning this foreign language. For this, the following should be taken into consideration. First is taking to the student in English language in the class and ground, etc. Next point is encouraging students to converse, means converse only in this language. Next point is arranging for group discussion. Second point is principles of habit formation. Language learning is a skill like learning cycling, swimming, etc. Language is the instrument of all subjects, so it should be automatic a habit. It should be learned to the point that little or no effort is made to speak it. The teacher can take the help of various audio visual aids such as tape recorder, language lab, etc. Next point is principles of imitation. Imitation means anukaran. The child learn his mother tongue by imitation from his parents, relatives, and teachers. Acquiring good speech is the result of imitating good models of speech. Hence, the teacher must provide a good models of speech before the students. Fourth point is principles of exposure to the language. Exposure म्हणजे बाधा. So, a child learns his mother tongue more rapidly because he is exposed to it. For teaching foreign language, teachers should try to expose students to an environment loaded with his foreign language. For this, the teacher can take the following steps. The first step is For this, the teacher can take the following step. So, the first step is distribute pamphlets in foreign language. Second step is for a foreign language speaking club in the school. Third step is display charts with slogan written in English on walls, etc. Fourth step is show slides in English. And fifth step is the use of mother tongue in classrooms be minimized to give students maximum explore to English. Next, fifth point is principle of selection and gradation. Gradation means anukram. known to unknown. So while teaching English, one should proceed from simple to complex and from concept to abstract. Mastery over a language does not mean knowing all the words in it. Second point is, a person can be said to have learned a language when he has learned its essential vocabulary and basic sentence patterns. Next point is, vocabulary and structures are selected and graded keeping in view the principal frequency, usefulness, reachability, and difficulty level. Selected words and structures are graded in suitable order for teaching them. Gradation of vocabulary and structures help in learning the language without much difficulty. A school level is ordinarily expected to master 250 structures and 2500 words in English. Next is gradation of language material means piecing the language items in an order. Grouping concerns. First is the system of language and second is its structures. Grouping the system of language means what sounds, words, phrases and meaning are to be taught. Next is those we have. फर्स्ट इज फोनेटिक ग्रुपिंग. फोनेटिक ग्रुपिंग म्हणजे भाषेतील उच्चाराविषयक. फोनेटिक म्हणजे भाषेतील उच्चार. ग्रुपिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू साऊंड. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, वर्ड्स हॅव्हिंग द सेम साऊंड आर प्लेस्ड इन वन ग्रुप ॲज कॅट, बॅट, मॅट, पॅट, फॅट, सॅट. नेक्स्ट इज इट, बीट, किट, एक्सेट्रा. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज सेकंड इज लेक्सिकल ग्रुपिंग. लेक्सिकल ग्रुपिंग म्हणजे शब्दसंग्रहासंबंधी. सो ग्रुपिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू लेक्सिकल सिच्युएशन्स. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, स्कूल, टीचर, हेडमास्टर, प्यून, classroom, library, all these words are grouped around school. Third point is grammatical grouping, व्याकरणात्मक. So grouping according to similar patterns as my book or his book. Pattern grouping in the room, in the corner, or in the class, in the ground, in the garden, etc. This is phrases grouping. Fourth grouping is semantic grouping. Semantic म्हणजे शब्दार्थ. So grouping according to meaning, for example, school, college, university, bicycle, rickshaw, car, tanga, train, aeroplane, etc. Fifth is structural grouping. Grouping in the structures means how two selected items fit one into the other, the sound into the words into phrases, the phrases into the clauses and sentence, and the sentence into the context. So sequence means what comes after, what sequence should be there in the arrangement of sounds, means phonetic sequence. Then next phrases, grammatical sequence, words, lexical sequence, and length of the structures. Next is sixth, principle of providing controlled vocabulary. Vocabulary should be kept under control. vocabulary should be taught and practiced only in the context of real situation. This way meaning will be clarified and reinforced. Next is seventh point is seventh principle is principle of oral approach. Speech in the primary form of language and written in the secondary form. Language is connected with ear and tongue first and with eyes and head afterward. During the initial stage, प्रारंभिक initial stage, oral approach is stronger than the visual memory of this stage. त्यातलाच पुढचा पॉईंट आहे, लर्निंग टू स्पीक अ लँग्वेज इज ऑलवेज बी फार द शॉर्टेस्ट रूट टू रीड अँड राईट इट. Hence, much importance should be given to oral work than reading and writing in the initial stages of language learning. Next point is 8th, principle of accuracy and correctness. Accuracy means to make use of right to exact words, those words be used which impart meaning for context it is necessary for this that. So the first is the selection of words should be right. Second is use of words should be economical. Third is expression should be impressive. त्यातलाच पुढचा पॉईंट आहे, करेक्टनेस अल्सो इम्प्लीज म्हणजे सुचवते, इम्प्लीज द ॲक्युरेसी ऑफ प्रनाऊन्सिएशन, इंटोनेशन, स्पेलिंग, स्ट्रक्चर अँड आर्टिक्युलेशन म्हणजे बोलणे. दोज द टीचर शुड बी बोथ ॲक्युरेट अँड करेक्ट फ्रॉम द व्हेरी बिगिनिंग. नेक्स्ट पॉईंट इज ninth point is principle of practice and drill. Language is a habit forming process. For this purpose sufficient practice and drill must be given while teaching a foreign language like English language is a skill subject and not knowledge subject. Hence sufficient practice is needed to language learning. Next point is 10th, principle of concreteness. The student will proceed from the concrete to the abstract and will therefore be furnished म्हणजे सुसज्ज with an abundance म्हणजेच जास्त असणे, abundance of well chosen examples and concrete illustration म्हणजे स्पष्टीकरण. Next point is point number 11, principle of learning by doing. It places more emphasis on acquiring the skill by doing. For foreign language acquisition, written work, pronunciation, reading, spelling, writing, hearing are essential activities. Students be given a good practice for this. Next point is 12, principles of practice in real situation. Language is taught so that the learning are able to make use of it in their day-to-day life situations. Different language items, say vocabulary, structures, etc., should be dealt within the context of some appropriate situations so that the learner may find them very near to life. The teacher should make efforts to relate the subject matter to life, customs, tradition, peculiaristic, peculiaristic and characteristic of the society to which students belong. Peculiaristic म्हणजे विचित्रता. This will make the teaching more meaningful and learning can be transferred to real life situations. Next point is principle of multiple line of approach. The language should be approached simultaneously एकाच वेळी from many different side in many different way be meaning of many different form of work. The teacher should adopt many approaches judiciary and rationally. तर्कसंगतपणे rationally म्हणजे selected to reach the goal various approaches that may be used as following: social, functional, cultural, behavioral, phonetic, situational and structural. Next is some psychological principles. First is principle of motivation. Motivation is of great importance in the teaching learning process. Motivation to learn a language plays a very important role in learning it. A child learns his mother tongue to get his need fulfilled. Teaching of English should be closely related to the daily life of the student to make it more interesting. Internal and external motivation should be aroused म्हणजे जागृत aroused by the teacher with the help of pictures, objects and actions. Special teaching techniques are required to motivate the student to learn the foreign language. Second point is principle of interest. To arouse interest in the student, teacher can make use of the following. First is audio visual aids, pictures, charts, records, language labs, etc. Next is relating the material to everyday life. Third is undertaking various activities such as speaking, reading, writing, etc. Third point is principles of repetition and exercises. Repetition of subject matter leads to its better grasp and understanding. It also helps them to retain it in their minds for a longer time. Practice makes man perfect. The teacher who makes a lot of use of exercises, revision and recapitulation, etc. can teach the students efficiently. Fourth psychology principle is principle of reinforcement. Immediately reinforcement is an important principle. It has been experimentally proved that reinforcement of correct response help in better learning. The student should be told his response is correct immediately after it is given by him. Next psychological principle is principle of readiness. Readiness is an essential part of the learning. As soon as the teacher enters the class, he should try to judge the readiness of the students, whether they are prepared or not. In case they are not ready to study, the teacher should make it all out efforts to make them ready to then proceed with the lesson. Sixth psychological principle is principle of variety. The teacher should try to bring variety in the classroom teaching in the following various methods and in the domain of correction work, etc. Seventh psychological principle is principle of fostering creativity म्हणजे वाढवणे. fostering म्हणजे वाढवणे. During teaching the teacher should give emphasis to creativity rather than cramming or reproduction of the material by the students in the classroom situation. Fostering creativity among the student is the best part of teaching. Eighth psychological principle is sympathy and cooperations. Sympathy म्हणजे सहानुभूती. So during teacher should have sympathetic and cooperative attitude toward the students. The teacher should create such an environment in the class that no student is afraid of him because the latter's sympathetic and cooperative behavior. Ninth psychological principle is principle of groups dynamics म्हणजे चैतन्य असलेला. A teacher should try to inculcate म्हणजेच लादणे among the learner a suitable types of group behavior. In group the learners are able to develop qualities of cooperation. Qualities of cooperations, scarific tolerance, etc. त्याग आणि सहनशीलता एक्सेट्रा. तर फ्रेंड्स, मला हाच व्हिडिओ कसा वाटला नक्की कमेंट करून कळवा. व्हिडिओ आवडला असेल तर व्हिडिओ लाईक करा, शेअर करा. चॅनलवर नवीन असेल आणि चॅनलला सबस्क्राईब केलं नसेल तर माय एक्झाम्स यूट्यूब चॅनलला नक्की सबस्क्राईब करा. चला आता मग थांबूया, तेच भेटूया पुढच्या व्हिडिओमध्ये. जय हिंद.